Hey Reddit, throwaway account for obvious reasons. I've been a long time lurker here. Never thought I'd actually be the one posting, but life has a dark sense of humor, I guess. My wife and I have been together for 11 years, married for 8. Let's call her Amanda. On paper, we were that perfect couple everyone envied. House in the suburbs, no kids by choice, 2 dogs, joint vacations every year, and date nights on Fridays. I genuinely thought we had it figured out. But something shifted about 6 months ago. It was subtle at first. Her phone was suddenly always face down, and she started working late more often. I didn't think much of it in the beginning. I mean, we all get busy. She said work was swamped, and I wanted to be supportive. But then she started snapping at me over the dumbest things, like forgetting to grab oat milk or leaving dishes in the sink for a couple hours. And don't get me wrong, she's always had a bit of a sharp tongue, but this was mean. Cold. Like she wasn't just annoyed, she was disgusted by my existence. At first, I chalked it up to stress, maybe burnout. I even suggested we take a weekend trip to decompress. She said I was smothering her. That was the first real gut punch. Smothering? We used to live for weekends together. I should have listened at feeling deep down that something was off, but I ignored it. I told myself I was overthinking, that I was being paranoid. After all, Amanda was my person. She would never do anything like that to me, right? So after the "you're smothering me" comment, I started noticing more stuff. Amanda used to be really affectionate, morning kisses, quick texts during the day, cuddling on the couch. But suddenly she was always too tired, not in the mood, or just flat out ignoring me. She started going to bed earlier than me, which wasn't like her at all. I'd walk into the bedroom and she'd be curled up with her back to me, phone clutched in hand, screen dimmed. One night, I walked in quietly and caught a glimpse of her texting someone. Her face went pale when she saw me, then immediately snapped at me. Jesus, ever heard of knocking? I was like, it's our bedroom. She just rolled her eyes and muttered something about needing privacy, like I was being the weirdo. My gut was screaming at me, but again, I convinced myself I was being dramatic. Maybe she really was just stressed. Maybe she needed space, and I was reading into it too much. But the weirdness kept piling up. She started dressing differently. More makeup, tighter clothes, new perfume, which, okay, I didn't mind at first. She looked amazing, but she was only doing it when she was going out with coworkers. Every time I asked who she was going out with, I'd get vague answers like, just people from the office, you don't know them. If I pushed, she'd get snippy and defensive. Then came the locked phone. We used to be open with everything. She had my passcode, I had hers. Suddenly, she changed it. I asked her why, and she said it was because work's gotten stricter about security, even though she doesn't work in any job that would need that kind of security. She's in marketing, not the CIA. I wish I could say I trusted her, but I didn't, not anymore. I didn't want to admit it to myself, but I knew something was happening. And then I found the first real proof. It happened on a random Thursday. She was in the shower and her phone lit up on the nightstand. Normally, I wouldn't snoop. Seriously, I was never that guy. But this time, something told me to look. Like instinct just took over. It was a message from a guy named Evan. I didn't know any Evan. The preview showed, "Last night was incredible. I can still smell you on me." My heart dropped, like physically. I actually felt nauseous. My ears started ringing, palms went sweaty. You always think you'll go full detective when you find something like that, but I just sat there for a few seconds, staring at the screen, paralyzed. Then I opened the thread. There were weeks of messages, flirty stuff, explicit stuff, dates, meetups, hotel names. He called her baby. She sent him pictures, some tame, some not. I just sat there reading it all. My whole body went cold. The worst part? She talked about me, said I was boring, predictable, that I wouldn't understand her needs, and that I killed her spark. She joked that I was probably playing video games or folding laundry while she was out getting satisfied for real. It felt like I was being gutted slowly, word by word. The shower turned off. I heard her humming. I knew I had to confront her, but in that moment, I couldn't move. I put the phone back exactly where it was, walked into the hallway, and stared at myself in the mirror for a good 10 minutes. I looked like a ghost. I didn't know what I was going to do next, but I knew everything had changed. I didn't sleep that night. She came out of the bathroom like nothing had happened, wearing one of those stupid silky robes she knew I liked. She kissed me on the cheek, and climbed into bed. I laid there next to her, my heart pounding out of my chest, staring at the ceiling while she fell asleep like a damn baby. The next morning, I called in sick to work. She left for the office, or so she said. The moment the door closed behind her, I grabbed her laptop. She rarely used it, but it was synced to her email. And yep, more messages with Evan, even a flight confirmation. She was planning a work conference in Miami next month. He was going with her. That's when I snapped. I texted her, "We need to talk, tonight, no excuses." She replied with a thumbs up. A thumbs up. That night, I waited until she was done with her dinner, which I cooked for some reason like an idiot, then calmly said, "So, how long have you been screwing Evan?" She froze mid-bite, fork in the air, looked me dead in the eye and said, "Who?" I repeated, "Evan, the guy who can still smell you on him." Her face changed. It was like watching a mask crack. She tried to laugh it off. "Oh my God, are you reading my messages? That's a huge invasion of privacy." She never denied it, just went straight into offense mode. Then she stood up, crossed her arms, and said, "Okay, you know what? I was going to tell you. You've been so distant, and honestly, I haven't been happy for a while." I just sat there. She continued, "It wasn't supposed to be a big deal. It just happened. You wouldn't understand. Evan actually listens to me. He makes me feel alive." I asked her if she loved him. She said, "Don't be dramatic." Then she had the audacity to say, "If you had just paid more attention to me, maybe this wouldn't have happened." I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I just stood up, grabbed my keys, and walked out the door. I drove around for 3 hours, crying like a damn fool, pulling into empty parking lots and trying not to hyperventilate. That was the night I realized I didn't know who I married anymore. The next few days were a blur. After that confrontation, I stayed at my brother's place, told Amanda I needed space. Her response, "Fine, maybe that's for the best." No begging, no tears, no remorse, just cold indifference. While I was gone, she didn't text to check in, didn't ask how I was. I could have been face down in a ditch and she wouldn't have noticed. That hurt more than I expected. Meanwhile, I started digging. It's like once the truth cracks open, everything else starts pouring through. I talked to a mutual friend, someone Amanda assumed would always be loyal to her. Let's call her Jess. Jess had always been a bit of a gossip, and honestly, bless her soul, she didn't even try to hide her disgust. Jess told me Amanda and Evan had been flirting at work for over a year. The office knew. They weren't exactly subtle. Drinks after work, touchy-feely in meetings. Everyone thought I knew and just didn't care. Apparently, they all had jokes about me behind my back. The clueless husband, Mr. Friday Night Laundry. She even brought Evan to a friend's party once and told people we were on a break, which was news to me, considering I'd been at home watching Netflix with our dogs that night. I swear I felt physically ill. My face was hot, my hands were shaking. Jess looked genuinely sorry when she said, "I wanted to tell you," but she made it sound like you were basically roommates. Like you didn't care. I did care. I gave everything to that woman. I worked overtime so she could start her side business. I planned our anniversary getaways. I cooked for her every damn night. And she painted me as some passionless, blind idiot just so she could sleep around without guilt? No, scratch that. Amanda didn't feel guilt. I don't think she ever did. That realization broke me. I went back to the house a few days later, not to stay, but to grab some of my stuff and talk face to face one last time. Amanda greeted me like nothing had happened. "Hey," she said, like I had just come back from picking up milk. She asked if I was feeling better. I ignored that and asked her directly, "How long have you been sleeping with Evan?" She scoffed, then gave me this line. "I told you it wasn't serious. It was just a distraction. You're overreacting." Overreacting? I asked her if it was still going on. She said no. I asked her if she loved him. She said no. I asked her if they slept together more than once. She said once. Twice. Maybe. I told her I'd seen the messages, the pictures, the hotel confirmations. Her face fell. Then she went right back into attack mode. "You had no right to go through my phone. That's a betrayal, too." "Oh, so now I'm the cheater?" I told her I knew she brought him to a party and told people we were on a break. She said, "I didn't say that. Jess is just jealous. She's always been a drama queen." She deflected, spun, twisted everything. Every sentence out of her mouth was a lie dipped in attitude. And when cornered, she tried to spin it back to me again. You've been distant for months. You work late. You don't notice me anymore. I needed to feel something again. I told her, you didn't talk to me. You didn't ask for help. You just went and got naked with some dude from work. Her response, don't be vulgar. It wasn't like that. She made it sound like she tripped and fell into his bed. The sheer level of gaslighting was Olympic. She was rewriting the story in real time, trying to manipulate me into thinking this whole thing was a shared mistake, like I had brought it on myself. I packed up some clothes, my passport, and my laptop. She didn't try to stop me, just stood there, arms crossed, annoyed, like I had left the fridge open too long. And that's when I knew for sure this wasn't just a betrayal. This was who she really was. Driving away from that house for the second time felt different. The first time I was in shock. This time I was furious. And underneath the rage, a sick kind of relief. Because now I knew. No more guessing. No more hoping she'd suddenly be honest. Amanda was a liar, not just someone who made a mistake. She chose this path. She built a second life, brick by brick, lie by lie, and kept smiling in my face while doing it. I pulled over halfway to my brother's place, parked at a gas station, and just sat there in the car, hands on the steering wheel, eyes burning. All the memories started flooding in. The trip to Asheville last fall, where she kept going outside for fresh air every hour, probably texting him. The Valentine's dinner she claimed to be too tired for because she'd already seen him the night before. Even stupid stuff, like how she'd suddenly started wearing perfume again when she swore she had migraines and couldn't stand strong scents. It was all there, in plain sight. I just didn't want to see it. Because here's the truth I hadn't admitted until that moment. I wanted to believe she loved me. I wanted to believe our marriage was real. I didn't want to face the fact that the woman I fell in love with had vanished, and the one who replaced her had been playing a role for God knows how long. The illusion was comfortable, and now it was shattered. I texted my best friend Mark and told him everything. He just replied, "Come over, we're drinking." That night, for the first time in weeks, I laughed. It felt weird, guilty even, but necessary, like taking a deep breath after being underwater for too long. Mark said something that stuck with me. She didn't break you, she freed you. And damn it, he might have been right. I thought the worst was over. I was wrong. 2 days after my stay at Mark's, I got an email, not from Amanda, but from Evan. Subject line, "Can we talk?" I didn't respond right away. I paced around the room for 20 minutes before finally opening it. The email read like one of those awkward apology speeches you see in celebrity YouTube videos, full of, "I never meant for it to go this far and I respect you as a man." He said Amanda told him we were on a break, classic line, that she'd said I was emotionally checked out and that our marriage was basically over. But the kicker, he said, I didn't know she was still sleeping with you. Wait, what? I called him. Yeah, I know, I shouldn't have. But I had to hear it from him. He sounded nervous, said he was stepping back from Amanda because things were getting messy. He told me Amanda had been lying to both of us, playing him with promises of a future and telling me we were still working things out. And yeah, we had still been sleeping together a few times during those months, usually after one of her fake, let's try to reconnect nights where she'd cry and say, I'm just confused. So she was lying to both of us. I told him, you're an idiot, but you're not the only one. Then I hung up. I couldn't breathe. This wasn't just betrayal. It was manipulation at its peak. Amanda was weaving stories to control both sides, feeding him lines about our dead marriage and feeding me lines about trying to fix it. I drove straight to the house, walked in, no warning. She was on the couch watching some dumb reality show, eating ice cream like her life wasn't a dumpster fire. I looked her in the eye and said, you told Evan we were over. You told me you were trying to fix things. So which was the lie? She didn't even blink, just said, why are you talking to Evan? No denial, no apology, just deflection. I told her I was filing for divorce. She laughed and said, good. I was waiting for you to grow a spine. I just stared at her. Not the woman I married, not even close. That was the final straw, the part of me that still had hope, gone. I didn't go back after that. I left the house, drove to my brother's, and didn't look back. The next morning, I contacted a divorce lawyer. There was no long, dramatic goodbye, no maybe one day moment. It was clean, cold, and surgical. The way you treat a wound that's starting to rot. Amanda texted me later that week. Not to apologize, of course not, but to ask if I'd taken the router when I left. Internet's down, she wrote, as if that was my problem now. I didn't reply. Blocked her number, blocked her on social media, blocked Evan too, just for good measure. You'd think that would feel like a victory, but honestly, it felt like burying someone, like saying goodbye to a version of your life you thought you'd have forever. The house? I let her keep it. I didn't want it. Too many ghosts in the walls. I just took my savings, my dog, and the clothes on my back. She could keep the furniture, the dishes, the little fake live, laugh, laugh, love signs she put everywhere like a suburban Pinterest board. I wasn't going to fight her for a life she already ruined. Emotionally, I was wrecked. I won't lie. I cried. A lot. Not just because she cheated, but because I didn't see it. Because I let it slide when she got cold. Because I believed her when she said she was just tired. Because I thought we were a team. I replayed everything in my head for weeks, like some kind of torture loop. When did she stop loving me? Was it something I said? Something I didn't do? But then I'd hear her voice saying, "Good. I was waiting for you to grow a spine," and I'd remember, this wasn't love. Not anymore. Maybe never. It was control. It was convenience. It was her using me for emotional and financial stability while she played house with someone else. I started therapy. My brother drove me there the first time because I couldn't trust myself not to spiral on the way. My therapist told me something I still hold on to. Her betrayal is not a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of her character. Damn right it is. When you break up with someone, people ask questions. When you divorce someone, especially after something this messy, people take sides. Amanda, of course, wasted no time spinning her version of events. A few mutual friends started reaching out. One of them texted, "Hey man, Amanda's saying you were emotionally abusive, that you neglected her for years." Excuse me? Apparently, she was telling anyone who'd listen that I forced her to cheat by being distant, unavailable, cold, and obsessed with work. That I had checked out emotionally and left her lonely for months. Never mind that I planned our anniversary dinner alone last year. Never mind that I did 95% of the cooking and cleaning. Never mind that I begged her to go to couples therapy 6 months before all this blew up, and she refused. But I guess when you get caught cheating, the only way to sleep at night is to rewrite the story with yourself as the victim. I confronted one mutual friend, Jess, the one who originally tipped me off, and asked if she believed Amanda's story. Jess said, "I don't buy it. She's always been a bit of a narcissist, but some people are believing her. Some people." That stung more than it should have. I realized I couldn't control what others thought, couldn't control the whispers or the group chats or the half-truths floating around, but I could control my reaction. So I stayed quiet, dignified, didn't trash her online, didn't air screenshots, didn't go nuclear, even though I could have. Why? Because I knew something she didn't. The truth always leaks out, eventually. People like Amanda can only keep the mask on for so long before they start slipping again. And me, I had bigger things to focus on, like rebuilding my life from the ashes she left behind. The silence after the storm is a weird thing. No more arguing, no more fake I love yous, no more wondering if she's really going out with friends or slipping into someone else's bed. Just quiet. I moved into a small apartment on the other side of town, 1 bedroom, second floor, creaky floors. The kind of place I wouldn't have looked twice at before, but now it was mine. Every inch of it honest. No lies hiding in the laundry basket. The first few nights were rough. I kept expecting her to call or show up or text something stupid like "I miss you." But she didn't. She moved on fast. Of course she did. From what I hear, she and Evan made it official a couple weeks after the divorce papers were filed. They even posted a picture together, her on his lap, holding a glass of wine like she hadn't just detonated someone else's life. I didn't feel jealous. I felt pity because I knew her, knew how she operated, knew how quickly she could shift masks to fit the next role. Eventually, Evan would see it too. Or maybe he wouldn't. Maybe he'd be content living inside the fantasy she created. I wasn't anymore. Living alone meant relearning 1,000 tiny things. Cooking for one, sleeping in the middle of the bed, not reaching for my phone to send her a meme, not waiting for her laugh from the other room, not needing permission to exist. The quiet was deafening some nights. But slowly, I started filling it with new things. Music I liked, books I actually wanted to read, TV shows I didn't have to pretend to enjoy, long walks, small victories, real laughter. There's this moment I remember about a month into living alone. I made myself dinner, poured a beer, sat down in total silence, and realized I was at peace. Not happy yet, not whole, but free. And that was the first step back to myself. About 2 months after going no contact, I got a letter. Yes, an actual handwritten letter from Amanda. I almost didn't open it. I thought, what now? But curiosity won. It wasn't an apology. Let's be clear about that. It was more of a justification, a soft spoken attempt to rewrite history in her favor. She wrote things like, I never meant to hurt you. I just felt so trapped. You stopped making me feel special. Evan made me feel seen again. But the part that really got me, I still believe we were good together. Maybe in another life, things would have worked out. Another life? No. In this life, you lied. Repeatedly. Manipulated me. Slept with someone else under the same roof we shared. Gaslit me until I didn't trust my own gut. I didn't write back. I didn't need to. Reading her words was enough to remind me of what I escaped. But you know what? It also gave me closure. Not because she offered it, but because I no longer needed it from her. I had stopped loving the version of her that still lived in my head. The Amanda I missed, she never really existed. She was an idea I clung to while ignoring all the red flags. That letter helped me realize something big. She was never going to take accountability. She was never going to make it right. And waiting for her to do so would just keep me stuck. Closure didn't come from her confession, it came from my own acceptance. I let go. For real this time. Once I truly let go of Amanda, the real healing began. I started doing things I hadn't done in years, things I forgot I even liked. I signed up for a local hiking group, started running again, took weekend road trips by myself just to feel the road and not have to explain where I was going or why. I even got a tattoo, something small on my forearm, a compass, because for the first time in a long time, I was steering my own life. Therapy helped a lot too. We talked about more than just Amanda. We dug into why I ignored the signs, why I let myself be walked over, why I stayed so long. Turns out I was more afraid of being alone than of being unhappy. That hit me hard, but I was working on it, learning to value myself again, rebuilding confidence one day at a time. I reconnected with friends I hadn't seen in ages, people Amanda had quietly pushed away over the years. One of them, Sarah, told me straight up, you're lighter now. You smile again. It's like you're you again. That meant more than I can say. There were still hard days, of course, triggers, random songs, restaurants I couldn't walk into without feeling sick. But those moments came less often, and when they did, I could breathe through them. It wasn't about forgetting. It was about remembering who I was before her and who I was becoming after. And the best part? I didn't need anyone to complete me anymore. I was finally enough for myself. Just when I thought everything was behind me, she reached out. This time, it was through a mutual friend. Jess, the one who initially told me the truth, texted me, Hey, Amanda asked me if you'd be open to talking. Says she's been doing some reflecting. Reflecting? Now? After nuking our marriage and shacking up with Evan like it was spring break, I asked Jess if she thought it was genuine. She replied, Honestly, I think she's bored, or Evan's already showing cracks. That tracks. People like Amanda don't reflect. They react, usually to losing control. Still, I was curious. Not because I wanted her back, God no, but because I wanted to see what angle she was playing now. I agreed to a coffee. Neutral ground. Daylight. More for me than for her. A way to finally say what I didn't back then. She showed up dressed like it was a date. Makeup done, fake smile, all that performance energy I used to fall for. But this time, I saw through it. She did the whole act. I've been going to therapy. Evan and I took a break. I didn't know what I had until I lost it. I just sat there, calm. I sipped my coffee, let her talk herself into circles. Eventually, she hit me with, Do you think we could ever try again? Maybe? Start fresh? I laughed. Not cruelly, just sadly, because the fact she even asked proved she still didn't get it. I looked her dead in the eye and said, I'm not the same guy you left, and you're not the woman I once loved. There's no again, there's no fresh. You burned that bridge yourself. She teared up, but again, it felt performative. Not because she missed me, but because she realized I wasn't hers anymore. Control? Gone. Cowan. The script? Shattered. I got up, paid for my own coffee, and walked out. No drama, no explosion, just the cleanest goodbye I'd ever given. It's been about a year now since that coffee, since the lies, since the collapse. Life looks different. I won't pretend I'm some enlightened monk now or that I don't carry a few scars. But I'm here. I'm healing. And I finally feel like myself again. Not the version Amanda shaped. Not the guy who second guessed himself constantly. Me. Looking back, here's what I've learned, and maybe it'll help someone else reading this. One, trust your gut. If something feels off, it is. Every time I felt her pull away, I told myself I was imagining it. I wasn't. I just didn't want to face the truth. Two, love without self respect isn't love, it's dependence. I bent over backward to keep things working. I confused being patient with being passive. You can't fix a relationship by yourself. You shouldn't. Three, some people lie with a smile. Amanda was the kind of person who could make you doubt your own memory, your own reality. That's not just toxic, it's dangerous. If someone constantly invalidates your feelings or makes you feel crazy, get out. Four, closure comes from you, not them. You don't need their apology. You don't need their confession. You don't need them to get it. You just need to accept it happened and that you survived. Five, moving on isn't about replacing them. It's about rediscovering you. For a while, I thought healing meant dating someone new. It doesn't. It means remembering who you were before they broke you and becoming even better. So, yeah, that's my story. Cheated on, lied to, left for dead emotionally, and still standing. If you're going through something like this, I see you. You're not crazy. You're not weak, and you will get through it, even if it feels impossible right now. Take it from a guy who watched everything crumble. Sometimes the best thing someone can do is leave, because only then do you realize how much of yourself you lost trying to keep them. And when you start choosing yourself, that's when the real life begins. OP, but you can call me free now.